OMG, baby, tell him.
Hey there, welcome to One Take. It's the new show powered by backers. I am joined here by Miriam Dong. Miriam, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, Miriam, I'll do a quick little intro. So, you are a serial entrepreneur and founder of G Med Chain, which is the first B2B medical marketplace on blockchain to facilitate global demand for cross-border trading to save lives. Say that 10 times fast, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Basically, on a high level, yes.
Okay, so explain. Let's. I don't know, where should we start? Should we start with the explanation of what that means, or I'm gonna actually do a choose your own adventure. I like choose your own adventure. Would you like to talk about what you do now, or would you like to talk about what got you to where you are today?
Sure. I actually can give you some background first.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
So my background is in business finance.
Okay.
I've been working in corporate for the last 10 to more than 15 years, and
Okay.
recently, actually last year, I went back to school to get my MBA in the States.
Right.
With all the COVID situation, everything's online. And so me and my classmate joined the MIT hackathon back in April
Okay.
to solve with the COVID-related problems.
Okay.
So I team up with some, actually three, the Harvard doctors to solve this resource allocation problem that they were facing. And so after that, I just kept working on it and build a team and build a company. So we have a team of 5. Basically, we're trying to help the healthcare system to bring technology into their operational side, the efficient side, to have a more transparency as well as the efficiency there in their the ecosystem level.
Okay, so you said resource allocation, right?
Yes.
Okay, so blockchain, resource allocation. So, and then obviously you're working. Are we talking resources as in equipment or human, like staffing, or both, or are we talking actual like blood transfusions, sort of like the actual organs being delivered from place to place? Like, what are we talking about when we talk about resources?
Yeah, so resources are huge. I know it's pretty broad. So as a startup, we're right now we're just targeting anything COVID related supplies. For example, PPEs, ventilators, anything that really in urgent demand.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to ask you the tough question here. So I see you went to UBC, right? The British Columbia Institute of Technology. So BCIT. So not UBC. Yeah. Sorry. So are you from Vancouver then originally? Are you in Vancouver?
I'm in Vancouver right now, but I moved here in 2003.
Okay. So I was going to ask the tough question here. Blockchain. So our platform is built on blockchain. We utilize blockchain technology, but maybe for those watching, can you break down? This is as best you can. Obviously, I mean, there's a lot of what blockchain means to a lot of different people, but can you maybe sum it up in your terms, or in your field, or what you're working on? What does blockchain mean to you?
Okay. Blockchain to us, which to me it's more of an underlying technology.
Right.
It's not really nothing to do with Bitcoin, or it came from it. But
Bitcoin is an application built on blockchain, right? So it's more of the operating system.
Exactly.
Right. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So I think the more powerful part is how the distributed ledger technology, like how we can leveraging this technology and implemented into different sectors.
Okay.
And in our case,
Right.
coming threefold. So we all know supply chain, there's information, there's product, there's money.
Okay.
Transfer for product from point A to point B to point C, as well as information and money. So how blockchains help is also can help in all three aspects. First of all, from the product side, when you buy, let's say, N95 mask on Amazon, you have no idea where it actually came from. So with blockchain, you can trace the history to the origin of the product, as well as ownership histories.
Okay.
So that come in the next thing is the information. So with the full information transparent to relative parties, you know exactly where it came from and where it is. And in terms of the logistics, you also can trace and track the product movement and any logistic events. So that when that information stored on the chain is tamper-free, you know you can trust it.
Right.
Immutable. And the third, immutable, exactly. So the third aspect is the money.
Right.
With blockchain, which there's smart contract, you can actually automate the whole payment process to make it more to shorten the financial gap, as well as when a lot of for example, a supplier usually asks for upfront payment, and the buyer asks for they don't want to pay upfront, they want to pay when they get the products. So there's always a gap. With the smart contract, you can automate the whole process. So the supplier can be certain they will receive the money when the product delivered, because it's like a program.
Right. Yeah, and it's automated. It's automatic. It's set up and it's automated, right? So you set the smart contract to release funds upon this action happening automatically. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you got it. Perfect. So yeah, that's how blockchain can help in this whole supply chain system.
Interesting. So I mean, just to kind of give people watching, I mean, yeah, I like obviously the distributed ledger aspect of the blockchain, the fact that you mentioned immutability, traceability. So people need to understand. So you've got blockchain is the underlying operating system that, say, something like cryptocurrency or Bitcoin operates on. But what it is, it's a way of the ledger is now distributed, where you've got a ledger in every, I guess, would you call it node? Would have or would have the ledger. So now that ledger can't be tampered with, right? It's immutable. So now you definitively know that this happened, and there's no sort of tampering. Where in certain industries, obviously financial is one. You talk about all these companies that are cooking the books, right, and are falsifying information, or suppliers not fulfilling the requirements and vice versa, right? This basically takes a lot of that risk out of what you're saying. That's kind of interesting. So do you find that, like, what's the response that you're getting from, like, who are you disrupting right now? I guess that, I mean, obviously you're using a disruptive technology. Who is in the position that you're kind of disrupting? Like what kinds of companies or what kind of organizations are you kind of coming in and they're like, they didn't exist? I guess with PPE, you're sort of in a new space, maybe because there wasn't as much trade of PPE. I get the demand is obviously skyrocketed over the past 9 months, right, with COVID. But so what kind of industry are you disrupting specifically?
So we are healthcare focused.
Okay.
And so basically upstream, downstream, every actor within the supply chain, from manufacturers to distributors to healthcare providers. And so everybody through this chain will be, only they all implement this the whole system, then we will have a more efficient ecosystem.
Okay, so let me ask you a different question. So have you actually gone to market, or are you still just building out the sort of MVP, or like, are you building out kind of the projected thought process? Like, where are you, I guess, in as a business? Where are you guys right now on your journey?
So we launched our first version of MVP last month.
Okay.
So right
cool.
now we're integrating the blockchain part into it,
Okay.
which will be ready with in the next 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
And beside that, we're just onboarding manufacturers, distributors, as well as talking to healthcare providers.
Okay.
So basically, we will do a pilot project very soon to do one transaction.
Okay.
And
And are you able to mention any names of who that might be, the pilot project?
It's within North America. I can't.
Okay.
It's a public. Yeah.
That's fine. That's okay.
It's a
Don't
public
worry.
entity, but yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So you mentioned though that you're starting to get the buy-in from the suppliers, from sort of the supply chain, from the sort of healthcare side as well, like the public healthcare. So you're dealing, I would assume, with the Ministry of Health in like provincial or maybe more localized at one of the health units kind of thing. Is that, and then you have to get them all to buy in?
Interesting. You mentioned it. It is healthcare. We think about it. It's actually, it haven't changed for a long time, for the
Yes.
past 60 years. So so we would definitely need a buy-in from if it's a public entity, the Ministry of Public Health, and
Right.
and also they need to get their board approval.
Right.
So basically, we're really dealing with the government contract at this point.
So how I'm going to ask a question that everyone that's dealt with the government knows the answer to. How has that gone?
Very complicated.
It's very difficult, very difficult, very
Mhm.
complicated. Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm going to ask you a question then. People watching there obviously are going to be dealing or put in these types of situations. What are some of the things that you're doing as a leader of your organization to kind of, oh, did I freeze there? No, I'm back. To kind of deal with the complications and kind of get through arguably the red tape. Like, what are some of the things that you're doing as a leader, just like tactically?
When we're talking about disrupting, which I actually don't like the word, it sounds scary because you
Right.
really need to understand their system really like inside out, and to really see how it fit into their already existing system.
Right.
And a lot of people afraid of, oh my God, this automation gonna replace my job, which is not. We're really we are trying to assist you to help you make your job work better or more efficient. So it's a lot of buying from their internal users.
Right.
And then we're talking about change management. That's why it's really complicated. But in short, you really need someone that have a vision and in line with you to be your product champion.
Right.
To cheer you there, to support you. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So I hope you don't mind me asking these very specific questions, because I think it's really interesting. Obviously you're doing it. You're living what a lot of people, wouldn't have the courage to do, right? So congratulations to you that you've even gotten this far, and obviously, continued success. But, how do you find that product champion? Is it, have you tried many times and sort of gotten a lot of pushback, or were you lucky enough to kind of find somebody early on, or like, because I know you mentioned that it kind of came from a project that you had done through MIT with some of the Harvard doctors. So I'm assuming if you have a Harvard doctor that's on your team and they're walking into, I'll just say, I don't even know a hospital in BC, but whatever, a healthcare system, a health unit in BC, I think that would lend some credibility, correct? Right? Versus just me or you walking in saying, hey, I have an idea. And they're like, well, who are you? And you're like, well, hold on. Let me introduce you to my Harvard medical doctor over partner, right? Did that help at all, or?
Um, I would suspect that that would help, but unfortunately, we didn't continue working on it
You know,
together.
you did. Okay. So they weren't even part of it. So it's all you. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
but we did have a lot of support
Okay.
from MIT like organizers, and also we got into the we got actually we got into the semifinals for the biggest smart city competition, which
Okay.
we got a lot of support from their side, as well as we got into this IBM and InterSystems program that we will also R3, which is the Corda we're using as our blockchain blockchain infrastructure.
Which
That
blockchain are you using? Which one?
R3
R3?
Corda.
Corda? Okay, Corda. Okay.
Corda. So they're mostly in finance industry, so that's why they are they're really they're probably the most compliance system.
Right. So the Corda. So I'm actually just sort of looking at enterprise blockchain. Interesting. So we've sort of built out a couple different, so EOS and Ethereum, different blockchains and then using like I guess one could be like a fork, like a sister type chain, and then using just the straight ERC to, with smart contract on Ethereum, right? So what, I'm not to get too technical, and that's amazing. Congratulations that you were able to find that product champion, and you're kind of working to bring in the various and to do a pilot to go into sort of blockchain, because I think it is very new. You know, there's some people that understand it, you know, very, very, very small percentage. I think the majority of people that even know what it is still associate it with crypto, which I think is unfortunate. Tell us a little bit about maybe your journey to pick Corda versus say, you know, going with just, you know, Ethereum, which is obviously the, you know, the kind of, I would say at this point, default for majority of you know, decentralized applications, or, you know, some of the others like EOS, or, you know, there's also IBM has their own chain as well. So what was your thought process there?
We actually first we built on Ethereum.
Right.
And again, don't want to go too technical, but they're actually a project they were working on, open source project. It's called Baseline. Basically, is using Ethereum the mainnet to have to give permissions to different levels of the users. Okay. Because it's open source and we hit our limitation. Sorry, I just need to plug my computer in for a second here.
No worries.
It's gonna die. So we switched middle of the project, because it's then we really compare a lot of other, like a Hyperledger, which IBM is using, and some others. And the reason we use Corda is mostly because of the security and compliance. Okay. Since we need to work with a lot of public entity, they have certain requirements. Okay. And that's the reason we're using it, and we're really happy about it actually so far right now.
Interesting. So are you're not dealing with patient data, right?
We're not.
So you don't have to go with like any sort of like the HIPAA and stuff. Yeah. Well, GDRP, but also like the patient health information protocol, like the different things along those lines. HIPAA.
Public health, we're not. We don't have to deal with the personal data. Right. But again, as if we have to work with the public entity, the first thing you have a checklist. You have to
security.
Pass. Right. The security. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. So I appreciate you, Miriam, joining me very much. I think it's amazing. I love hearing about blockchain projects. So I'm a very strong proponent for them. We, as I said at the beginning, are building our platform, our sort of security exchange platform on blockchain. So definitely, I love it. So thank you for joining me. I usually end it though with one question. I have two questions though. So you're more of the management side, kind of the marketing business side. So a lot of people we work with, and myself included, I'm more leaning that way. I'm assuming you're not doing a lot of the coding and development yourself. You have a team. So what is the, how do you go about building that team? Would be maybe just from your experience. How has it been building that team? And correct me if I'm wrong. Do you do some of the coding?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm not technical.
Okay, that's the, I assume so how did you go about building that team? I guess is sort of an interesting line of thought.
All our team member I met through hackathons.
Through what? Sorry?
Hackathon.
The hackathon. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we had as many as like 15 members at one time, and I was like, okay, we really need to like keep our team small. And
Right.
also because we're a startup, we meet every morning at 6 a.m. Like we take maybe 1 day break for the last 6 months. So it's very intense. So a lot of people can't keep up or they have other duties. That's why it's, so we, that way also we kind of filter out who's really a good fit for us. Mm-hmm.
Right. So you have a team of, you said it was as many as 15 sort of
At a time.
At a time. That's awesome. Okay. And then that's kind of pared down a little bit. So, and
Yeah.
you guys are very intense with your development. You said 6 a.m. every day, 7 days a week?
Yeah, 7 days a week.
No rest for the wicked, right? There you go. That's dedication. I mean, I work 7 days a week. I'm not sure if I could ask our team members quite yet, but I'm going to tell them Miriam's team works 7 days a week, that they should also be working 7 days a week. Anyways, I really appreciate it. Miriam. I usually ask sort of one last question around, you know, your thoughts, maybe a piece of advice that you would give to other entrepreneurs. If there's sort of one word maybe that you give to maybe a younger you or you know, somebody coming up, what would that one word or one piece of advice be?
I would say focus.
Okay.
Focus. There come to two meanings. One is really focus. Don't get distracted on your project. Just focus. Second, focus is focus on your customer. Really narrow down to the very tiny little segmentation that you need to start with, and focus.
Right. Interesting. Focus on the task at hand, and be very hyper focused on the problem maybe, and who who has that problem. So the problem you're solving,
exactly,
and who has that problem, right?
Yeah,
so that you can address that very specifically.
Absolutely. Yeah, the people you're solving the problem for, focus on them.
Awesome. So I'll ask one more. Have you raised capital yet? I don't usually ask people this, but have you guys raised capital?
No, we're not raising capital yet. No, we're not in the process yet.
I'm going to throw this out. I don't normally do this on this video, but Backers is a funding platform, so we should connect, because I think your idea is you know, has huge scalable potential. So would love to talk to you about that. So when you're ready, let's connect. So
yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. Well, Miriam, thank you very much for joining me. All the best. Good luck. Everyone else out there, this is One Take, powered by Backers. See you again tomorrow. Miriam, thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
See you. Bye. Bye. Have a good day.
OMG, baby, tell them.